only show that's 3 dimensions away from Aquaman being on dry land. I'm your host, 3D Jake, and today we're looking at Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, released in 2023. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is once again directed by James Wan, and it is co-written by James Wan, David Leslie Johnson McGormick, and also Jason Momoa and Thomas Pissett. And the movie once again stars Jason Momoa, Patrick Wilson, Amber Heard, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, Dolph Lundgren, Nicole Kidman, Martin Short, Randall Park, and Tamara Morrison. The movie is basically a continuation of the first Aquaman, where basically Aquaman is now with Mira, and he's the king of Atlantis, and he's just being bored by, being just having to be a civil servant in a way where he's basically king and he doesn't want to be king and rather just go around doing it, saving people, being adventurous. And instead, and he likes being with his family, but he has to make sure his loyalty and his duties to the throne are more important. Meanwhile, Black Manta, played by Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, is basically seeking his revenge against Aquaman for killing his father, and so this time around Randall Park is aiding him, a scientist who was believed people think he's crazy about Atlantis, helps him discover Atlantis and everything so he can seek his revenge and basically bring about a weapon that could destroy all of the world as we know it. I really enjoyed this movie. I went into this movie, a lot of people were hating on it and everything. I like the first one. I know there's some issues I had with the first one, but this one I went into it expecting to hate it. And I went into the first 5 minutes as when I was like, oh, maybe this is where I think, yeah, it's not going to be as good as the first one. And then, of course, because the way he's, you see Aquaman there, he's like, oh, he's about to save the day. And I'm like, just like in the first one. But then he's showing his kid with action figures, like, oh, this is how I did it and everything. I'm like, oh, this is stupid. And then, of course, once he starts saving the day and he does the whole montage, then I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm on board. And then, of course, you see, the bad guy, Black Manta, is, upgraded his suit to more comic accurate. He's discovered the lost trident, and he's basically trying to rise as evil lord from the dead. And I'm like, oh, this is so cool and everything. And he just gets more stronger and everything. And he basically, attacks Atlantis and it causes a terrorist attack in Atlantis. And then, of course, Aquaman and, Mira, and they have to go, Aquaman has to go free his brother and everything because his brother, they go on a venture together to get Black Manta, to stop Black Manta. It's a brother, journey. It's two brothers on a journey together. That's 40% of the movie. And the rest of it's more of a revenge story. And I really enjoyed this movie. I like that, Tamara Morrison is back. I love the whole cast is back. I like that the visual effects still look good as they did in the first movie. Although there was some scenes, for instance, Nicole Kidman jumps on the ship. It looks more like wonky CG a little bit when because her face looks CGI. And it doesn't look as bad as The Flash. Don't get me wrong. But it does look a little bit iffy, and Atlantis still looks great. The sea creatures played by John Rhys Davis still looks great. Dolph Lundgren, who I thought was just gonna make a cameo, is actually in the movie pretty dominantly, and I think that's pretty cool. It feels like there's these people who had lesser roles are actually more predominant in this movie. I will say Amber Heard, even though yes she has controversy around right now, I think she did a good job in this movie, and she wasn't overshadowing the movie, but she was, I thought she did a good job with the role she was given. Nicole Kidman, I feel like they kind of underused her in a lot. I think she's only in three or four scenes, where she actually has dialogue. I think most of the time she's just standing there. And I think that kind of sucked because I liked her in the first movie. So I think this one, she does have more screen time, but technically she's just really has no dialogue. And I did like Patrick Wilson in this one. That he's his brother, and everything. And he's it kind of feels like Thor and Loki's relationship. He hates him. And then you kind of feel like he redeems him at the end. Because it's the last one, he's Ocean Master, wants to destroy all the Earth, wants to go up to the surface world and declare war on the surface world. And it kind of has the same thing that Black Panther Wakanda Forever had, or Black Panther in general had, and where at the end in the post-credit where he tries to reveal himself to the world, being Wakanda's going to share his technology. Well, it's kind of like that with Atlantis, where it's hey, Atlantis is going to share his technology. I like that aspect. And I like that Black Manta is essentially goes and gets this giant trident, and he's going to, the idea is a climate crisis movie, where he's basically going to, he's making the climate get hotter, where it could basically, the whole world can destroy itself. In which, I like that idea. That is a good super villain movie. But the only thing is, though, wouldn't you die too? Because you are a human being, so you cannot live in this world. But I understand he's being possessed by his creature, and his creature basically wants to destroy this world in its own, and make it in its own image. I get that. But at the same time, wouldn't that, like, shouldn't there somebody be, like, saying, like, all these henchmen are going along with Black Manta? Shouldn't somebody question him besides Randall Park? And Randall Park basically is like this scientist who was in moral relief. Like, he basically wants to be proven right that he's not a crackpot. But at the same time, he sees that Black Manta's doing all this heinous stuff. And so that's like he's trying to, like, like, ooh, someone actually believes in my research. And there's like this scene that reminds me of, like, Superman Returns, when they go in the fortress, with Lex Luthor and them go in the fortress. It reminds me of this thing because they go in under this ice in Antarctica. And they find like this, ancient weapons and everything, and like it reminded me of that in John Carpenter's The Thing. It just reminded me, like, this very creepy scene, and I thought that was really cool. I do think that some of the humor is stupid though. Like, for instance, there's a scene where Aquaman is changing his baby's diaper and the baby pisses in his mouth. I have actually seen that scene happen in a movie called The Change Up. That is a comedy though. This is not. So I thought that was really stupid. Also, I thought there's a scene where, like, him and Orm are sitting there, like, at an island, and he's saying, "I'm hungry," and he's like, and he said, "Here's," and they pulls, there's a cockroach, and he's like, "It's the shrimp, it's a fish of the land," and then he goes, and he eats it, and he's like, and I'm like, really? And then on top of it, and then there's even a post-credit scene where Orm is sitting there, and I just thought that was so stupid. Him just sitting there eating he sees the cockroach, puts it in his burger, and goes. I'm like, that is so stupid. That is the stupidest thing ever. Yeah, I did like that Aquaman showed up, declared this, like, world, like, yeah, but then when he went, yow! I thought that was so stupid. I'm like, you had it, and then you lost me. And also, like, I did think that there's a couple scenes with Randall Park who's, like, he keeps spying on Black Manta because he knows there's something off with him. And, like, he literally threatens him. Like, says, keep your nose up. And then he does it again. He keeps, like, going like this, like, and I'm like, why don't you kill him? Kill him! He's literally spying on you, means he has intentions that are not aligned to your cause. So kill him. And I mean, there's just, like, I mean, there's literally like things in this movie where I'm like, come on, really? Like, I really like I do like that the movie itself doesn't drag, but it does feel like one of those movies where we go over to this location, we explore this, then we go over here and explore this. Like, there's so much in common with this movie, with Thor: The Dark World, and this movie. I do like this, but I think it's better than Thor: The Dark World. But at the same time, I feel like there's some of the same issues carrying along. Like, the villain is essentially like a CGI villain, so like, release me. And then, like, Aquaman has this battle with Black Manta, which I thought was cool. And, like, I thought the whole third act was pretty cool. And when Aquaman's battling Orm, and then Orm becomes possessed by the spirit, and then, of course, Aquaman's blood gets, and then he gets free. The creature gets free. But then I thought, oh, he's about to have a three-way battle. It's like Aquaman and Orm are gonna fight, this creature. Instead, he throws a trident. The creature catches it, and then all of a sudden he throws it again, and he throws with his trident, and then it just kills the creature. And I'm like, what the fuck is even the point of that? That's like a waste of time. It was just like, it felt like they were doing it as a joke, really. And that, to me, irked me a little bit. And just with those things, that really irked me. But other than that, I had a really good time with this movie. It just felt like some parts of it felt just too goofy and cartoonish, when it felt like the first one felt more like a real movie, while this one feels more like a parody of the first movie. And that's what kind of irked me about it. But the parts that I loved. But the parts that felt like I just didn't like it. But other than that, I thought it was a fun time. I'd definitely watch it again. I really enjoyed myself watching it, and I had a great time. And I thought it was a really fun movie. I liked the cast, and I would like to see a third film. If I had to give this movie a grade, I would give it a B. Thank you so much.